Okay, I'm going to do this last story, and I'm going to combine a lot of stories that I missed over the weekend that I'm just going to kind of put into this one. And it's going to be like a rapid fire succession. I don't know how rapid it is because I am a motor mouth, and it's really hard for me to not, talk a little bit more in depth about some of these things. But let's just start it off with Marjorie Greene, the psycho congresswoman from Georgia, who is doing very well in her gerrymandered district of just it's a MAGA district. She's got all the clout in the world there. She would never be voted out. Well, she's been floating the idea of running for Senate to take John Ossoff's spot, and John Ossoff's been like, "Come on, bring it, bitch. I will destroy you." First of all, there's a myriad of factors. First of all, she's in a gerrymandered district. The entire state of Georgia is not like super red. It's a purple state. So the chances of a crazy red hat wearing lunatic like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's not going to play across the entire state. She does well in her little district, but across the entire state, not so much. And over the last few days, Donald Trump and the governor, Brian Kemp, governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, they've both been trying to talk her out of it. Now, Brian Kemp was floating the idea of running for Senate, and he would have a much better chance to beat John Ossoff. But Brian Kemp said he wasn't going to do it. So Marjorie Taylor Greene threw her hat in the ring to become the senator. Well, she apparently got a talking to from either, the big guy or Brian Kemp or both, and she said that she's not going to run for Senate, and that John Ossoff. By the way, John Ossoff, who knows that he would much rather run against Marjorie Taylor Greene than some generic Republican because he would have a harder time beating that generic Republican. Marjorie Greene is toxic. And she has said enough crazy ass shit that everybody knows her name. I remember when she first was running for office, her claim to fame is that she chased down David Hogg, who was a survivor from I can't not remember the name of the school in Florida that they had the mass shooting where like 19 kids got killed. And she was chasing down this David Hogg, giving him shit about fighting for gun control. That was her beginnings. She even did this little thing where she went to AOC was already a congresswoman at the time, and she went to Congress, somehow or the other, she got on AOC's floor, and AOC was not in the office, so she bent down on her knees with a couple other people that she was with and opened up the mail slot and started taunting whoever was inside through the mail slot. Just creepy ass shit. Marjorie Taylor Greene's father owns a construction company. He's a millionaire. He gave that to her. So when I hear her say about Ossoff, the current senator of Georgia, that he never worked for a living, honey, you ain't never worked for a living. Give me a fucking break, man. You took your daddy's money. You still got the construction company, which, by the way, she got PPP loans for that were forgiven. And then she turns around and screams at people trying to get their student loan forgiven. But she got her loans forgiven for her construction company. And also she has a fitness, a cross-training thing, which, the guy that she was partners with in her cross-training venture, she ended up having an affair with, which is why she's divorced from her husband. Yeah, honey, run for Senate. Please run for Senate. Oh my God. It would be so fucking entertaining. Wow. Anyway, so she's not running. I don't know who's going to get to run against Ossoff, but, I'm sure they won't be as toxic as Marjorie fucking Taylor Greene. Let's see here. There is an artist, a musical artist named of Kalani. She is they would consider her to be pro-Hamas. No, she's anti-genocide. I mean, every time you hear somebody say, you're pro-Hamas, just know that for the most part, they're just saying, please stop bombing babies. Please stop bombing innocent people. Please stop starving an already starving population. But anyway, she's been outspoken on what's going on in Gaza, and she had a concert upcoming in Central Park, and that was canceled by our mayor, Eric Adams, who, by the way, has proven to be quite a corrupt asshole because he is under serious scrutiny for his corruption involved with Turkey and a pay-to-play scheme. So Donald Trump has got that hanging over his head and says, hey, if I want to send my ICE boys into New York, you better not stop me. And he goes, no, Mr. President, you could just bring them on in here. So he's already corrupt up to his fucking eyeballs. But he cancels this. And so, I mean, essentially now we are just doing thought crime. You know, if you are an American and you can criticize our American government because of freedom of speech, hey, that's great. But you are in America and you can't criticize the Israeli government, that's considered a thought crime, and you could either, lose your gig in Central Park, or if you're a foreign student, you could have your visa taken away and get sent back to your own country, or you could just get snatched up and black bagged and sent to an ICE detention facility on your, on a wait for a trip to El Salvador, to the Gulag. Freedom of speech, right? Freedom of speech. No, freedom of speech means I get to say the R word or the N word. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you get to criticize Israel. Get that shit straight. You keep that word out of your fucking mouth. Anyway, so she gets her concert canceled. And you know what? I'll give her credit for being principled. She hasn't stopped talking about what's going on, with the Gazans. She hasn't stopped talking about what's going on in the West Bank. She's not stopped talking about what the horrible war crimes and genocide that Israel is doing. So good on her. Good on her for keeping her principles. We could all stand to have more principles. And to add to that, a woman recently was attacked by a bunch of crazy Zionists in Brooklyn. And this is the McCarthyism coming home. This is the Islamophobia after decades of warring in the Middle East. This is that Islamophobia coming home. And this is that this new Red Scare, is this new McCarthy. Were you a communist? Were you ever a communist? Did you ever go to any communist meetings? When is it going to be, are you a Hamas supporter? Are you a terrorist? Do you support terrorism? One of the biggest streamers on Twitch is Hasan Piker. The guy is the GOAT on Twitch when it comes to left-wing politics. And he just had a pretty good write-up in the New York Times calling him something like, I don't know, he's a lefty, but he's got a right-wing bro MAGA body, because Hasan Piker is insanely good-looking and full of muscles, and he's really tall. So, the whole MAGA is macho. By the way, I've seen all the MAGA talking heads out there. They're not that fucking macho, man. Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin. Oh, God, man. Macho? Manly? What's that guy's name on Fox News? They talk like this. It could be any number of them. Jesse Waters, macho? Give me a fucking break. Anyway, Hasan Piker, who just took a trip to Paris. I don't know. I have not seen. I assume that he's talking about this today on his Twitch stream. I will catch up with it, what actually happened. But he was in France for the weekend, and he came back in today and was immediately questioned about what he was doing there. Are you a Hamas supporter? When you are stopped by customs officials and asked personal questions about your political beliefs, that should be a huge fucking red flag. Huge red flag. Nikki Glazer spoke about this not too long ago, where she said that she was asked whether or not, or no, she was talking, I can't remember if she was asked or she was talking about another comedian friend of hers that was asked, but they are asking, do you do jokes about the president? Oh, really? These are questions that you are asking people as they come back in. I mean, they are literally checking social media for anybody who is applying for a visa. They are checking your social media to see what your thoughts are and if you are somebody we want to let into this country. Not that you're talking about, death to America, just that, hey, you might be left of center and you might not be for genocide. Nope, no visa for you. Or if you had a visa, I'm sorry, you got no visa no more. So going after somebody as famous as Hasan, that is a huge fucking step. I mean, they're already arresting judges. They arrested a mayor in Newark at a picket line over the weekend. The authoritarianism is really strong and it is fully on. Let me see. Is there anything else we need to talk about? The new Pope hates some JD. Well, he doesn't hate JD Vance. He's the new Pope. But the right wing is losing their shit over this. They're calling the woke Pope, and he's a communist. Let's put it this way: is he better than Ratzenberger, which was the Pope before this? Pope Frank, who was he was literally in the Hitler Youth in the 30s. Ratzenberger, who ended up being Pope Benedict or Benedictine or whatever the hell you want, whatever name he picked for himself. But watching people like Laura Loomer, who, by the way, how she is somehow an advisor to Donald Trump. There was a minute during the 2024 campaign for president where she was flying all over the place with him in his private plane. And it seemed like they had a really tight relationship. And she also suggested that the guy who did the signal chat leaking, who was I believe, God damn it, why can't I remember his name? Doesn't matter. She suggested that he get fired, and he got fucking fired. So how this woman, who is this weird plasticky looking, she looks like, the movie Saw, she looks like Jigsaw because she's got all the... I'm not here trying to criticize the way somebody looks, although they get mad at transgender people and they end up getting all of these facial surgeries, and now all of them look like drag queens. Whether it's, Eric Trump's wife or the best is yet to come, that Guilfoyle, DJ TJ's wife, or, any number of the women in, or the periphery of the White House, all of them look like Mar-a-Lago bitches. And so does Laura Loomer. But apparently she thinks the Pope is communist, and she has said so, and that he might be swayed by the devil. Okay, thanks a bunch, whatevs. There was a woman last week who was her name is Shiloh Hendrix. She is a blonde-haired white lady with a blonde-haired white baby. And she was in a children's park. And according to her, there was a young child, a young boy, who supposedly stole something out of her diaper bag. And she went up to that little kid who was like 4 years old, and she called him the N-word. Well, there was a guy there that heard it, and then he breaks out his phone and he starts filming. And he goes, "What did you call him?" "Well, I called him what he was because he was acting like one." And he says, "Like what?" And then she says the N-word several more times. And she says, "And he was acting like an N-word." Well, the guy posted it up because, views, I guess. But instead of the I was emotional that day, or oh God, I'm so sorry that I called a little N-word. I'm sorry I called him that, whatever. Or the classic apology, I'm sorry if your feelings got hurt. Honey, that ain't an apology. It's not an apology. I'm sorry that I was an asshole. That's an apology. I'm sorry that you feel bad. That's not an apology. Kiss my ass. Well, this woman, she went on this the right-wing GoFundMe page, which is called Give, Send, Go. That's the right-wing version of GoFundMe. And she puts out a post on this GoFundMe-ish thing, Give, Send, Go, and she says, I was attacked in the park today and I feel like I'm being threatened and I might need to move away from all of these crazy lefties that are trying to kill me. Please send me money. And the number that she's trying to reach is $1 million. I don't know if she's going to move or not. Who's to say? I mean, if she moved, it would be out of shame because everybody would just go, oh, that's the N-word lady. And she would just be known as the N-word lady. I don't know if she lost her job or not. Nobody ever said anything about it. I don't even know if she had a job. She might be a stay-at-home mom. I have no idea. But one thing I do know, she is on her Give, Send, Go site. She has not made $1 million yet. She has like 850,000. So all you got to do as a right winger, if maybe you're going broke, I got an idea. Just call somebody the N-word and then magically people will donate money. And by the way, I saw some of the donations and they give little notes as they're sending a donation. Donation like, the name of the person won't, it'll just be, John 1488, meaning the 14 words, we must secure a nation for our white babies, whatever that 14 words is, and 88 meaning HH, which means Hail Hitler. So, people like that, or people trying to spell out the N-word, giving like $5 each letter just to spell it out, just real clever racist shit. You are a racist, woman. There is no getting around it. You are a fucking bigot. I don't know if that kid tried to take anything out of your bag. I don't know if the kid just walked up and picked it up and go, wow, this is kind of cool. If you are an adult, which you purport to be, you go up to a child and you go, that doesn't belong to you, honey. Let me put this back in the bag. And then you go look around for, where's your mommy? Where's your daddy? Hey, hon, your kid's digging in my bag. And that would be the end of it. But no, she's got to call him names. So, hey, N-word, make $1 million. Just start dropping N-bombs, man, and start pitching your case on Give, Send, Go, man. That's how you get paid in America. It's the scam economy, and business is good. Oh yeah, one last thing. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has floated the idea for Surgeon General, a woman named Casey Means. Her and her brother are kind of, healing, self-healing kind of, hey, medication might be great, but I got an idea. Try my drug instead. These two people are like pharma supplement company owners. Well, RFK wants to make Casey, it's a man, Callie Means and Casey Means. Callie is the brother, Casey is the sister. And he wants to make Casey Means the Surgeon General. Now here's the rub. She does not have a medical license. She's not a doctor. She went to Stanford for medicine, did not complete her residency. She says that, Robert F. Kennedy said she was in the top of her class, but if you go to Stanford, you don't get grades, you get pass-fail. Get pass-fail, that's what you get. So you could be the top of your class, with the other 37 people in your class? Sure, okay, whatever you say. But she doesn't have a medical degree. And her quote that I heard that I found fascinating was, I believe in the scientific method, but always watch out for that but, folks. Butts get in the way. But I have my own intuition. And that right there is a sop to all of the people who are anti-vaccine, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, here's the thing. A lot of right-wingers out there are mad at this pick, but they're not mad because she doesn't have a medical degree. They're not mad because she's not some kind of medical nerd. They're mad because she might be more pro-vaccine than they are, or that Robert F. Kennedy is. I mean, Robert F. Kennedy strikes me as the guy that's, that has a room where he tans his own balls. Robert F. Kennedy has done some crazy ass shit. The bear in Central Park, the whale on the hood of his car, the eating of the dog. The man ain't right in the head. But for him to pick somebody without a medical degree to be America's Surgeon General, fucking chef's kiss. It's brilliant. Anyway, that's the show for today. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully, you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you next time. Have a good one. You take care. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.